Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to my channel and for a new build for Stranger of Paradise. The Wonder of the Rift DLC has dropped and I gotta say it can be very difficult. Especially the Labyrinth after floor 30 and onwards, enemies just have a ton of health and resistances. Getting to the top may not be as easy as you think. Still, the Summoner is by far the most reliable job in the game right now. To do both the Labyrinth and taking on those ridiculous chaos monsters and bosses as well. With how aggressive these new enemies are, it is just really easy to fight them with Bahamut as you cannot be staggered when you're attacking. Plus Bahamut is also able to stagger nearly all the enemies by himself. Bahamut is able to keep the enemies in a constant stun lock that they can't do anything about it, like the Ogres and even the Tomberry. They can all be put in an infinite stun lock that you can always guarantee a kill. So overall Bahamut is just super strong. I have decided on my builds to ensure they're able to reach at least floor 30 on the rifts, as that is the point where you obtain the trophy. This build can go even further than that though. I will be having the floor numbers displayed at the bottom of the screen of the footage from the rifts, so you can see how this build plays out on the higher floors. I have quite a lot to share with you for this build, so let's get right into it. Alrighty, so the main job we are using is the High Summoner class on the Summoner, and the secondary job we are using is the Alabaster's Lord on the White Mage. Your secondary is super important, just as much as the Summoner. The White Mage and the affinities you need to get on them are really important. With the White Mage, we can still chain cancel to reach max MP at the start of the missions. The skills Haste, Regen, Shell and Protect are all free to use, so we can use them to chain cancel and get to that max MP. It is overall a great secondary job to have on. Even if you're playing with friends or with allies, you can use these skills on everyone, even having access to revive as well. There are quite a few affinities you need on this job. First being 600% on the Berserker. This will give you the ability to enter Lightbringer whenever you soul burst enemies. This is really important as it comes in handy for your main summoner. I would have actually put this affinity on the main summoner job itself, but there's a catch to the skill. Only when you manually soul burst enemies by pressing circle would it actually register as a soul burst. If I use Bahamut's ability to soul burst enemies automatically, it will not count. As you can see here, when I soul burst enemies automatically with Bahamut, I don't get my Lightbringer recharged. But when I soul burst them manually by pressing circle, I get my Lightbringer duration back entirely. So I thought it would be best to just have it on the second job so we can easily use it for bossing. Then we also get 400% on our breaker, so we get bonus damage when we soul burst. This will also come in handy for your main summoner. We need at least 400% on your Void Knight, so we get increased potency of our MP recovery effects and reduced combined ability costs. Then we also need 400% on Evoker. This will have us constantly recharge MP when we are at max health. It is really important to have this during the rifts, as you don't have cubes to get your MP back. So this will be our way of getting MP back during the rifts. You won't really need this if you're doing the regular missions where you have access to the cubes. You can just add in 250% Samurai for that if you want. We also get 400% on our White Mage, so we can revive for free at least once, whether if it's for us or for an ally. And then finally, we need to have 120% on our Summoner so we can get to that max MP by chain cancelling. Also important on the gear on your White Mage is that you get Spirit, Soul Burst MP recovery and Soul Shield MP recovery. This will allow you to get that MP back all the way up to max whenever you Soul Burst. That's all you need for your White Mage, so now let's have a look at our main Summoner. We use the High Summoner class so we get access to Flare Breath, which is used on your combo abilities. Doesn't really matter which one you go for, but I just preferred this class instead. Every single affinity and every single special effect are important on this build. There are quite a lot of affinities that you need to get, and that too at 400%. Firstly, we have 400% Dark Knight, so we have all our near-death effects active all the time. Getting 400% on Dragoon is great to have as it will boost our attack speed during Lightbringer. And then our main affinity for this build is Knight at 400%. The Invincible skill got a great buff in this DLC and it's actually really good now. The Lightbringer duration is only reduced if you take a hit. It doesn't reduce the duration drastically at all. These attacks from Darkness Manifest do some real damage, and as you can see, they still are unable to fully reduce the duration of Lightbringer. You can tank a lot of attacks from the enemies. Definitely one of the best things to come out of this DLC. We need at least 250% on our breaker so we get additional strength bonuses. Getting to 400% will also add in bonus damage when we soul burst. Then we also need to get at least 250% on our summoner so we get reduced cost on sustaining Bahamut. then any affinity that offers strength would be good to have. Across your gear pieces, you will need to have these special effects: Improved Effect Lancet, Damage Dealt Summon, Strength, during Lightbringer damage dealt, and near death damage dealt. If you have a Summon Blessing, it would be best to use Titan. For your command abilities, we use Mighty Strikes for increased damage. Then we have Lancet to have us build up our MP really quickly. Add in Lunatic if you want even faster attack speed. Boost Magic is also great if you're having trouble maintaining your MP after using Lightbringer, or just in general with Bahamut. Keep Lightbringer on in general since it has a really good duration. For bossing, you can get away with using the Dimension Bringer as well. With the damage we have, and even with the short duration, we can kill the bosses really quickly. Here's a look at the master points for both the Summoner and the White Mage. That is it for all the weapons and gear pieces you need for this build. The affinities are really important if you're planning to do the rifts. When playing with this build, make sure you're always in Lightbringer, otherwise you will die near instantly. With the regular enemies, they had no troubles at all. With our really improved effect on Lancet, we can use our abilities constantly, and that is what will allow us to stagger even the bigger enemies infinitely. These ogres, especially if they spawn as chaos monsters, they have a ton of health on the higher floors. Having them constantly under stun lock makes the fight that much easier. When you are bossing, make sure that you always soul burst them with your secondary job. That way you get the Lightbringer for free and don't have to waste 2 bars of MP to use it. It's really helpful, especially later on in the rifts, because you will need as much MP as you can get. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. The Summoner is the most reliable job in the game right now to do the rifts and nearly every mission on Gilgamesh difficulty. What do you guys think of this build? Let me know. I would love to hear from you all. I will catch you all next time.